death can save us is a Bronze Age-inspired cosmic fantasy romp, bringing together action and pathos as the ancient elemental known as Death leaps from his ethereal retirement to help a young soul protect her loved ones, a world, and even existence itself.
Hello, hello, welcome to the show, and that was Only Death We Can Save Us trailer, and here's the man himself, 20 streams in. Good morning.
Good morning,
Russ
everybody.
Leach. I mean, talk about the dedication. And we've also got Joe here as well. We've got Joe and Blue on the panel.
Hey, Joe.
Good day, good day.
Fantastic.
It is 4 a.m. in the morning over there in lovely, rainy England.
It's sunny at the moment. Well, not right now.
No,
it's dark.
Always rainy. Always. That's what I've been told. Actually, I did go to London once, and it wasn't that rainy either.
But it smelt.
Russ, you just launched yesterday. How are you feeling? Have you had any sleep since you launched?
No. I launched at 12 o'clock, sent out the emails, had a little bit of time to do some more inking, went out, got some fresh air, and then I was on with Rotten Glory at 7. And it's not stopped since then, really. So it's good.
God.
It's good. It's good. I'm tired. I'm old and tired, but it's good.
Yeah, that first day you can just run on adrenaline. I remember even after doing that whole thing, streaming for hours and hours and hours, I finished and then I was just sitting there on the couch, just like, what do I do with all this excess buzz?
Yeah, what do I do now?
Totally.
I think I may pass out.
Hello to the good people who've turned up to watch the show today. We've got Rick Saller in the house. He says, I swear I was just looking to this comic last night. Well, I bet you liked what you saw, Rick. It's a fantastic looking book. Blue says, is that what you told the six-fingered man? We're just going to move along from that comment. Skip Edwards. This week we're sharing recipes, right? Always, absolutely. Hello, sexiest chat in CG, says Black Rose Comics. Absolutely. Hello, back to you. Frog G is in the house. And he says, when a young soul needs help protecting her loved ones, her world, even existence itself, death comes out of retirement to help. And there's a link.
Nice.
He says,
what a nice summary.
It was, wasn't it? Stefani Renee is in the house. Hello, hello. How you going, buddy? Great to see you here. Todd
awesome.
Struth, Mr. Struth himself. He hails the chat. Who else is here? Hello, William C. Evening, folks. I try to be fashionably late, he says, so this is weird. We are always on time. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the rumors. You can set your clock to this stream. Chaotic Neutral asks an important question. Has anyone seen Mo Biggs lately? Where is the man in question? It's almost hardly a show without him. Great to see you here, Chaotic. Jason's here, Unhinged Entertainment. How the sexy chat. Antoine's here. Cheers, gents. How you going, mate? Oh, there he is. There he is. The man himself. And he's saying, I started on time 2 nights in a row. Now I'm just showing off. I don't know what you're talking about, Mo. There's Joe saying hello in the chat. Hex Allen is in the house. Get on the Russ bus. I like it.
Which is definitely not a short bus. It's very large, very long, and is all about comics.
Wide bus, yes. A broad church. Statistical Zero's here. Says, hello all. Listen while I draw as usual. Well, great to have you here, Statistical Zero, as always. And who else is here? Drawing Aces. Says, hail everyone. I'll right back at you. Jam Creates. How you going, mate? He says, hey guys, how is everyone? I think we're all feeling good and sprightly and fine, except Russ. Russ is slowly melting in front of our faces.
Yeah, I will go at some point.
we're gonna use it. You know that time of the night where you
Yeah.
just, whew, it's
Yeah.
difficult. I remember being at a wedding once. It was my brother's wedding, and we were all sitting around, just like, how much longer can we, make this last? And then my dad came in with it was an Italian wedding. Came in with grappa. I don't know if you've ever drunk that before.
Yeah.
Grappa, and we were all having shots. Talk about a second wind. I think a couple of people threw up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I felt sick about an hour and a half ago. Yeah. But it's all gone now. I should try a Spanish wedding. Actually, I did that in a Spanish wedding, and I just couldn't work out why there was no one around at 4 o'clock. It's because they were all sleeping, and then they all turned up at 8, and when they just went the whole way through the night. That was it.
It's a different life over there in the Mediterranean. Russ, I don't know what you said you've done 5 streams?
I think it's 5 streams. Five
streams.
Yeah.
So this is the 6th.
This might be the 5th. Sorry. Let me count. 1, 2, 3,
Man with a plan.
4, 5. Yeah, it's 6. Yeah.
Anyone who wants to launch a book, this is how you do it. Preferably like what the Barton brothers did. They got Rob Arnold out there, and they were tag teaming everyone. So they were just all over the streams all at once.
Blimey.
You're doing it all yourself. How many times have you talked about the book and the characters and all that?
Loads of times, and I won't stop because I love them. I love drawing comics.
How many times have you talked about yourself?
Yeah, a little bit. Wise Guys wanted to know more about me because that's kind of the way his show is. Whereas everything else, copy from the best. If there's a model, follow it.
Exactly.
So yeah, he wanted to know a bit more, but everything else has been very much focused around the book. We stretched off into some other things in Marshall Lee's stream, but yeah, mostly the book.
Well, one thing we can start with is you don't sound like you're from Texas.
No, I'm not. No.
Where are you from, Russ?
I'm from the UK. I'm over in the east of the UK, just beyond London, up in the countryside. It's nice here. Doesn't smell as much. And on the eastern side of the country...
It's probably less stabby.
Less stabby. Yeah, you don't have to wear a vest where I live. And it's a little bit drier because we're on the east side, so it's the driest part. So it's almost continental, you might say. So I live in the UK. Yeah.
It doesn't qualify as Midlands, does it?
No. Well,
too far south to be considered Midlands.
I'm just.
Okay.
I'm in East Anglia.
Okay.
So it's about an hour and a half to Birmingham, which is thoroughly the Midlands.
I know all of these areas from the Last Kingdom on Netflix, which is all about the old kingdoms of Wessex and Anglia and Northumbria and everything fighting each other. But we won't go into that.
I know all these names from punk and new wave music.
Yeah.
Yep, that's about it.
Cool. Yes, I there are times when I wander the streets of the UK wishing that I still had a battle axe. Because the place,
need it soon.
Yeah, the place seems to have gone completely mad. But there you go.
Now, okay, comic book stuff. Comic books. Are you new to comic books? Have you been around comic books your whole life? What's the background there? What's the story?
I've loved comics since I was a kid. Most people that make comics will say that, won't they? They discovered them as a child. I discovered Bronze Age books as a kid. First book back in 77, 78 that I was able to buy with my own pocket money was Captain Britain. And I'd already had comics up to that point, but that was the first one I bought myself. And that was a Marvel UK production, who were a satellite of Marvel in the US. And within those pages were reprints of Fantastic Four by as early some Kirby, but obviously Sinnott right the way through as the inker, and John Buscema, who is my favourite artist, and some Steranko, Nick Fury, and some Avengers. So it might be Tom Palmer on the inks there. And there was just all kinds of stuff in the reprint section of there. And that completely took me. I just fell in love with comics straight away, and I migrated from there onto DC stuff and other Marvel stuff, and obviously 2000 AD and Star-Lord were a big influence as well. So I loved comics as a kid. I wanted to draw comics. I was told by my illustration lecturer that I was rubbish, so I shouldn't bother. So I went and became a designer instead.
It's a tale as old as time. You don't know
isn't
how many
it?
times we have heard this Russ on this show.
It's constant. It is a constant. So I went off and I became a designer. I started designing for retail, and the big store over here was Argos, Dixon's and Curry's. I worked for Sony as well. And whilst I was doing that in the mid 90s, I sent submissions to Marvel via snail mail. And the new talent manager took me on, said I was great. I love your work. I was a bit of a Jim Lee clone at the time, to be honest. Everybody was not a very good one. And I had a dialogue with him backwards and forwards, but it was around 95. Things just didn't happen. So I went away and had a career. I was, like I said, I was an art director, designer, ended up being a programmer and UI designer as well. I had my own business up until 2009. And then I chucked it all in because I wanted to draw comics. I think, it was time to do it. So I wanted to be a freelance illustrator. And I changed my home so that I could take chances. We sold up and got a smaller house. And I focused on being the thing I wanted to be. I soon found out that I was naive and that the world was not as I thought it was, and that drawing comics wasn't as I thought it was, and that my artwork wasn't what I thought it was, and it required time and effort. So I got on with doing that. I was fortunate enough to bump into some people while doing some indie work for Unstoppable Comics and for a couple of other people. JD Rosario runs Unstoppable. He hails out of New York, and those guys were doing diversity before Marvel thought it was a good idea. And that's proper diversity for everything. So anyway, I was mucking around doing some stuff. Ended up with a company called Marcosia, where I put together a couple of graphic novels. And then I got my break on Doctor Who. I did Doctor Who Adventures magazine for Panini, who were Marvel UK back in the day, for two and a half years. Last one I did was last January, I think, where I did a spring special with Jodie Whittaker in. And then I did a run on Ben 10 magazine for Cartoon Network. All the time I was doing a Draw the Marvel Way homage to the old book, How to Draw the Marvel Way. But it was every 2 weeks. It was a tutorial thing. It was like an art book. But I got to draw loads of licensed characters under Marvel's editorial eye. So I really enjoyed that. But I never actually got to draw for Marvel, sequentially.
Yeah. Right.
Then I ended up doing some stuff for a company called Charisma recently, which is like an AI-driven comic book story thing for tablets and phones, and also some storyboarding for movies. There's a film company in the UK I was working with. And then everything went bonkers.
Any movies we might know about?
Not yet. It's not out yet. It's
okay.
It's still in production, which is why I haven't been doing any more storyboarding on it, because they've got to wait to put the actors back in the place, and they've got to get some more money in. And they've got all the money. They're waiting for me now, but they're gonna have to wait a little bit longer because I'm in the middle of doing this. And also the Charisma stuff had to wait for. It's all driven by all this tech stuff is driven by investment and by confidence. So they basically put everything off until the end of the year and said, we want you back, but it's going to be the end of the year. And I'd written a script that I was already working on sort of 1 day a week. So it gave me the opportunity to jump in with both feet and do Only Death Can Save Us.
What a story.
The opportunity's finally there.
I know, yeah. That's the thing.
Take the opportunity. So, grasp it, jump in, get it done. So I wasn't going to sit around and do nothing for 6 months or 4 months or however long this ridiculous thing was going to go on for. I was going to make use of my time.
Well, this plot being your own, and it says that somebody else did the scripting for you, which I think just refers to the dialogue. But
Yeah, dialogue. Yeah.
How long has this been itching you in the back of the head?
I wrote this 2 years ago. It's derived from a script that I wrote 4 years ago, just about. Both of them are kind of like they're Bronze Age inspired, all ages, cosmic sci-fi kind of stuff. Sort of Jim Starlin, Cosmic Cube kind of stuff, you know. And so I did my 8-page preview came out at the end of January this year. So I was dedicated to doing the book. I just thought it would take me a lot longer. And it's just, I've been given this window of opportunity, so I'm going for it. And if there's any way that I can stick with this, if I can make this, if I can get enough of an audience to enjoy the book that it keeps me drawing the books, then that's all I'm going to do, because that's the passion. That's what I want to do.
Well, the fact that you sold up your house and went, got a smaller house to follow your dreams of becoming a, working illustrator, that's says a lot just right then and there. That's I don't think many people, have the balls to do that and go that far with it. So that's just a great thing to hear. And William C in the chat says, I love hearing all these CG creators taking stabs at their dreams. We need to do that in all aspects of our lives. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. It wasn't just, I'm not going to take full credit for that. Some of it is standard of living as well.
Yeah.
Why do you need a big house?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had enough bedrooms for my kids. Like, let's get a smaller place and move out into the country. I don't need to be doing that stupid rat race stuff. Make the choice.
Oh man, I am feeling it. Absolutely. Especially now everyone's working from home and it's working. Why be in the city where it's expensive and you're just sort of treading water, and move out somewhere where you can live a better life and also allow yourself, more freedom to do the things that you want to do, like make comic books.
Like make comics, yeah. Like live your dream if you possibly can. Do something that you're passionate about. You'll live longer.
Oh, totally. I'm totally feeling it. How how did you find out about all this crowdfunding and everything going on with Comicsgate and everything?
Yeah, well, I've been watching. Like anybody who says they haven't been watching, who's in the creative industry, are either willfully ignorant or stupid or lying, because it's all been going on around us, hasn't it? All I ever wanted to do was draw pages. Like I wanted to be in the bullpen for Marvel. Yeah. I wanted to be with Stan Lee and John Buscema and Sal and Ditko and all these people and be part of the bullpen. I didn't realize at the time. I know now it's not true. It didn't happen. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter. That passion that Stan Lee had, whatever you think about the interactions he might have had with Jack Kirby and all the rest of it, he was passionate about comics, and he was an amazing ambassador. And the way the editorial teams used to work back in the day, they made you feel part of that. You were part of it. That's how you felt when you read the letters page or when you read the books. And that's what I wanted to do. And I realized over the last 10 years where I kind of went off to follow what I wanted to do, I got the gigs. And then, 2.5 years after I got the Doctor Who gig, there was no Doctor Who gig. That's it. What are you going to do? There's you follow an editor around or whatever, but you're not in charge of your own destiny. And of course, I'd been used to being in charge of my own destiny because I had my own business. And you're always at the mercy of your customers, but you can see the problems coming. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you can make decisions about logistics. Yeah. You can make decisions about scheduling and about money. But when you're drawing books, you're drawing pages, and then suddenly someone says, "Oh, we're cutting that title," and you're like, "Okay, what's next?" Well, nothing. I'm not employing you. You're just a hired hand. You're the art monkey. It's just like, okay. I mean, it wasn't as cold as that, but that's effectively what happened. like I was stuck. I managed to get another book through the same situation. I went on and did the work with Draw the Marvel Way and with Ben 10. And the other work that I got flowed through that because I'd worked with a network of people, but there was no more comic strip. And I could see, I was looking around me, it's like the dream was to go and work for Marvel or DC, but Marvel and DC, and I soon came to that decision. Maybe by the time sort of 2.5 years ago came, I realized that Marvel was not Marvel anymore. It wasn't what I wanted to work for. It wasn't that thing that I loved as a kid, and a lot of the characters weren't the same anymore either. I mean, and just some of the business decisions that were going on. You take ideology out of this. Why, after 10 years of MCU, are there not comics all over the place? It's just, there's just some crazy decisions going on, and I felt that the industry wasn't the one that I necessarily wanted to be in. It wasn't that industry that I really wanted when I was younger. The dream. And so from that sprang, well, I really ought to get on and make my own IP, because that's the way forward. Have your own IP, make your own way, but build it and they will come, kind of thing. And so the realization hit me that I just better get on with it.
It's funny that you brought up the Stan and Ditko and all those guys in that sort of, as we now know, metaphorical bullpen.
Yeah.
But I get that feeling now that in what we're doing here on YouTube and on Twitter has that same energy, where it's just like there's so much whirling around and we're all bouncing energy back off each other, and there's something starting here, there's something big. And you look back in history, there was at the start of the 20th century, there were the Impressionists all in Paris, painting. They were all together, bouncing off each other. There was the musicians in California in the 60s and 70s doing the same thing. And this just happens, in place to place at certain times, and you can't plan for it. But you're exactly right. When it comes up, you better jump on board and take that opportunity and get in the mix, because you really, you would know. I can hear you've been in this industry a long time. What's happening right now, this doesn't come around, every couple of years, and you can get the next turn.
Yeah, you'd be lucky if it comes around once a decade.
Yeah, or even less, less. So what happened with Stan and Jack and Steve and all those guys, catching lightning in a bottle. That happened back in the 60s, at the start of the 60s, and then they kind of, carried an entire industry from that moment going forward for decades and decades, until eventually, well, we know what happened to it. And now I feel like this is what we're doing here. I'm not saying it's going to be that, but it feels to me like it could be that.
I think the energy's there. I think what's happened is, in my opinion, obviously, comics, American comics in general, Western comics outside of Europe, because comics in Europe do really well, is pretty much like Japan. That they have a different approach to comics. But you can pretty much bunch Britain in with North America, and they took the comics out of the newsstand, and there's lots of reasons for that. But that was the start of it, because you haven't got comics down low with kids looking at them. If you don't put comics in front of kids, they're not going to buy them. Mm-hmm. So you had that problem. Then you had the whole speculator issue in the 90s, and things have gotten to a point now where the industry is just so, I don't know. It seems to me that the industry now is all about films and lunchboxes and paraphernalia. It's not comics for comics' sake, and I totally understand the business aspect. You have to be paid to get things done. You have to make money, okay? But and I think that there are passionate creators still in the mainstream industry, but it's not at the top. There's no passion at the top. It's just a consumer issue. And there's no passion, and that's what the comics were like back in the 60s, 70s. There was this passion right from the top, comics for the sake of comics. I mean, look at people
Yeah.
like Jim Shooter, who used to run that ship, but whatever you say about him, he was all about the comics. And that's what the indie scene is doing right now. You can call it Comicsgate, you can call it indie. Like, I don't go around badging myself, all right? But if people are respectful, if they're polite, if they're professional, and they want to give their time, I will talk to anyone and work with anyone. And that's the way we should be in indie. We should all be working together, bringing the industry up. A high tide rises all boats, or whatever it is. And I think there's an opportunity now. We've got these new technologies, and the mainstream industries haven't really taken hold of these new technologies. They've just scanned the pages in and put them on Comixology. Well, that's rubbish. Okay, that I don't like that. Most people don't like that. I know some people do it, but I don't like it. And I'm an old guy, but there's lots of people, lots of younger people, like my kids' friends. They're not interested either. So you've got to do something with the new technologies. I was, like I say, I was involved with this Charisma thing that had this AI underneath it, and it was like an interactive experience. That's taking control of new technologies, but also distribution. So things like crowdfunding, things like Indiegogo and what have you, and us being on YouTube and interacting with people, we're showing our passion. We're communicating with them in the same way that Stan and Ditko and all the others like kind of communicated through those letters pages and through the way they presented the comics. So you're getting that connection. And when people back an Indiegogo project, they feel a connection in the way that we used to feel them when we were reading comics. And I think that's really important. And it's the Wild West. There's an opportunity here for a renaissance of indie comics. And if you all help each other out, if you're all there for each other, you're going to be stronger. So, for instance, thank you very much. You helped me with my campaign. I asked you some hopefully pertinent questions, and you gave me some great advice, which I put into action. So there's someone in the community who's had their own experience, who's putting back in and helping another creator out. And I spoke to other people, and they were really impressed with the changes that I'd made after they'd seen it before. And it's just that interplay, that interaction between creators, but then also through crowdfunding and through the way that we provide the passion to our work, that we also communicate with the audience as well. And it's just I think there's so much energy going on at the moment. There's so much potential. So yeah, I jumped in.
It's funny you mentioned.
Well said, Russ.
Yes, people in the chat have appreciated your. Actually, I was going to monologue. There we go. Monologue. They've appreciated what you've said. Is diatribe an insulting word? I don't want to use that.
What the hell?
Anyway,
I went up a bit.
I don't know the word, but yeah, you mentioned lunchboxes and stuff, and I've heard it talked about recently amongst a few comic skaters, one of whom is me, that people need to earn. Their IPs need to earn the ability to put out all the paraphernalia. The other thing you're talking about, and that includes like posters. That was part of the discussion. But one of the ways we do earn the ability to sell a poster on a not fully proven IP yet is coming onto streams, connecting with the audience, as you just discussed. The way you put it was much better than I could, and just not being a jerk. That always helps. So
yeah, that's it. Just being open. I think that's what's great about YouTube. Something I discovered, 18 months, 2 years ago, is just this. It's like it's the difference between texting someone and having a conversation with them.
Yeah.
You kind of, you're not right in front of any of us. When we're looking at the camera, you can see if we mean it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We're here being open and discussing and communicating with an audience and with each other. And that's something I think that the mainstream creators aren't doing. And because there's no conduit with the editorial and with just the way comics used to be and the way they presented themselves to the audience, because that conduit is gone, then these creators seem to be distant and they're not able to connect in the way that we're all connecting now.
Yeah, and a lot of them have sort of gotten away with affecting, somewhat a personable persona on Twitter.
Yeah.
But once you try to take them onto YouTube, all that is laid bare.
Yeah, very, very much so. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I've just been constantly, agog at some of the things that I've seen. Coming from like going away, having a business, being in production, publishing, retail, design. If I ever spoke to a potential customer the way that I've seen some creators speak and treat a potential customer, if I was working for someone else, I'd been fired. And
Yeah.
if they were my client, I would have lost them. So I just don't get it. I don't get any of that. The fan, there are no toxic fans. I've said this before. It's like every fan, if they buy a book that you've produced in whatever form, time is money. Okay. Every time you spend money, it's a little bit of your life you're giving.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So if you're giving a little bit of your life to have that book, the least you can have is the respect of the creator and an opportunity to voice your opinion. Okay, there's no way I want to hear someone or see someone spouting bile at me. I'll just mute them. But for Christ's sake, just use the mute button. There's no need to get all arsy about it. And
Get on your high horse and
yeah,
make
go
an
on.
example out of them.
Exactly. It's like these people are potential customers. Be nice to them. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And if somebody, people have backed my book, and I'm just like, I'm humbled by the fact that they would think, wow, like that looks great. I really want to, I want to have that in my library. Like I've got books up here of people that I admire and artwork that I love. I'm a bit shallow. I don't read a lot of books. I like the art. I watch a lot of crap films because I just like the special effects. But I do read the stories. I do enjoy them. And I've got a library of books. And if somebody else wants my book in their library, that's a special thing.
Now, speaking of your book, here it is. But before we actually get to that, there was a very important question back up here in the chat. I didn't want to miss it, where I didn't highlight it. Does Russ eat beans with his breakfast? Is that a real thing?
No, I'm probably a bit middle class. I tend to have cereal.
Oh, very
I
fancy.
like muesli. Keeps me regular.
I was about to ask, is it muesli?
But if I do have a cooked breakfast, yes, you have beans with it.
Yeah, right. Okay, there you go. There you go, Skip. You can take that one to the bank. He says, very well said, Russ. I don't know if it was related to that. But yeah, here it is. Only death can save us. So first of all, like you mentioned earlier, I'd heard about you. I think you popped up into the comments sometimes and said hello. And when you said, can you take a look at the book, I was so just pleasantly surprised and happy to see this style of art, on display like this, because I think we don't see enough of it. And obviously, you went through and you said, you've got a long history in illustration and everything. I think that shows. And I just wanted to say, man, I really, really, really love the look of this book.
Oh,
don't undersell yourself, Michael. We were on an after stream together, hanging out before we signed off, and he opened it up and started in just giddy like a little girl, made that sound.
I know I'm going red.
No, because I had the same. I don't know if it's the exact same experience, but I started reading comics in the early '90s, and I kind of fell out of it in the mid '90s. But what I didn't fall out of is going back and buying back issues.
Yeah.
And pretty much everything I bought was Bronze Age. Bronze Age Spider-Man, a little bit of Ghost Rider and stuff like that. I just love that era. I love the smell. I love the look. I love the colors. I love the stories. It was a bit just like, you're like looking at the good pictures and you just get a pretty straightforward story, and that's all you need.
Yeah. Some of it was a bit cheesy, but it was
Exactly.
good fun.
It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me.
No.
It didn't all have to be super serious and learning lessons all the time. But let's jump into the campaign, because we are 35 minutes in and we do need to talk about this, even though that was probably one of the strongest starts I think we've ever had of someone coming on.
Well, he's
to talk to us.
rehearsed it 5 times already.
That's true. He should be good by now.
He doesn't even need that script by this point.
Okay, now here's something I am going to claim. I was the one who told Russ, put all this stuff up the front.
Yeah.
Bang, look at that. It's so bold and big. You can see exactly what you're getting. So you're getting 80 plus pages, perfect bound, full color, 60-page story, concept art, and a character gallery, all in one book.
And then
that's
synopsis.
Just the start of it.
The little synopsis right there.
Yeah.
Yep. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the book?
Right, okay. I'll start off with the synopsis. Only Death Can Save Us is a Bronze Age-inspired cosmic fantasy romp, bringing together action and pathos as the ancient elemental known as Death leaps from his ethereal retirement to help a young soul protect her loved ones, the world, and even existence itself. You can see kind of where we're going with the 8-page preview that's here. It's, like I say, and we've discussed, it's Bronze Age inspired. The artwork is obviously Bronze Age inspired with some modern twists to it, I hope. And it takes you on a journey that Death befriends this soul that you see right at the start, and it's about the response to the event that occurs at the end of the 8 pages, and how that rolls out to the rest of the story, and also how their relationship then moves on, hopefully into more books. I'm looking at a 4-book arc, and sorry,
what are you laughing at?
What are you laughing at?
What's Mo saying now?
Something.
Mo who's laughing at you.
Russ, can we get your permission to use the book's title as the new name for Michael's Nightly Show?
Oh my God! Only Death Can Save Us.
I apologize, Russ. I should have muted that.
It's all right. It's all right. What was going on? Maybe there was like a no cats video or something.
Mo Biggs is our resident comedian.
He's a good one.
60% of the entertainment value on this show. So.
There's also, I mean, part of the inspiration was mythologies. I love quantum mechanics, listening to quantum mechanics, and also pseudoscience. YouTube is rife with that kind of stuff. And it's excellent. You just let it all soak in. Yeah. So I love me a bit of quantum physics and a little bit of Tom Campbell and theories of everything. Along with some mythologies, Earth mythologies. I wanted a recognizable character, and Death is a very recognizable character, but he's not what everyone thinks he is. The skull, for instance, is completely coincidental. And you get to learn more about him and about the 4 horsemen. And like I say, it moves on, hopefully, over a 4-book arc that then has every potential to spread into other stories. But also, Death himself softens towards his new friend, and it's about that relationship as well.
Now, Antoine had a question here. Where is my book? Here it is. I've got a copy of Watchmen here. Right. It's printed on. It's not matte. It's like I'd say it's a satin paper. What paper are you planning on printing this on?
Yeah. Well, it won't be like that because I think it's difficult to get that paper.
Yeah, this is a bit more like newsprint.
Yeah, I'd love it to be on a newsprint, but I've looked into that and it's just not going to happen. So it's going to be I don't know, somewhere between 60 and 80 GSM. I'll make it matte. I don't want it to be shiny.
That's what I want to hear. Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I want to hear, because these colors, they will just really come to life on a nice satin, like you said, 80 GSM paper.
Yeah,
People get a bit.
The shiny just doesn't work when all I can see is the glare of my flashlight.
Yeah,
that's right.
Under the covers.
Now, for the American audience, can you translate that GSM into pounds? Are you familiar with the conversion, Mike?
No.
Yes, I am. I was looking at this the other day.
Oh.
And I'm just completely drawing a blank because I'm going to get confused with the 12 point or whatever card stock. I can't. Someone will have to look that up for me.
Okay,
I'm on it.
But it's a lighter. It's a bit lighter than the people are printing on paper these days that's a bit more like coffee table thickness. I'm not a huge fan of it.
No.
To be honest, I like it to feel like a little bit floppy. Someone's going to clip that.
Mo is already on the case.
Damn it!
Yeah. So I mean, just a standard, really. I don't want it shiny. What I'd really like to. Sorry, go on.
80 GSM is like 22 pound.
Right.
Okay.
What I'd really like to do, if I get, if I get enough interest, if I get people that really like the books, once I've done the first arc, I'd love to do black and white in a hardback. That would be where I'd love to go with it. But we'll have to wait and see how much interest it gets.
It's already started.
Confirmed.
So for the Americans in the chat, from what I'm hearing from Russ and Blue, it sounds like the paper stock that Russ is going with is probably about as close as you could get to a newsprint type of weight without actually going with newsprint. So that actually, between that and the finish you've chosen, Russ, I think you're really going to make this book look like a great fusion between the Bronze Age inspiration that you've discussed with the modern materials that you're working with. I think it's going to look great.
Thank you. That's been my aim as far as style is concerned. I've been slowly digging away at this style over the last 10 years. And it came to fruition to a degree in the Marvel art book that I did. I was able to keep going and crafting at it, and it's finally come out in this book. And like you say, hopefully with the other modern materials, it'll end up looking good.
Now you've got a YouTube channel. It says here, a comic book black belt, and
that's right.
You're live streaming your process. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been live streaming, but now what I'm doing is just putting up quick screen captures. So I will be on and off, but
like
so
time
rather
lapses.
time lapses, so that people don't have to spend forever watching them.
Yeah.
And I just give a little commentary over the top, and it's a quick snippet, and people can see how the production is going on without seeing the whole page or seeing all the story.
Are those pencils digital?
Those are, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so you're doing this whole thing digitally?
Yes, apart from the 11 splash pages, which I will be printing out and then doing traditional artwork on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. There you go. Yeah, so everyone go check out Comic Book Black Belt. Another channel to subscribe to. We always need more.
It's a good channel, man. I've been subscribed since the very early days.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. I don't know what number I was, but I think it was probably 2018. I don't even know how old your channel is, but there weren't many people on it when I joined. It's been a real pleasure to see the growth, because I remember when you were working on that Drawing Comics the Marvel Way material, and that's when I found your channel, and that's when I started, every now and then I would post a comment and I just kept thinking, I really hope that he gets his book off the ground, because I'm jonesing for this. And actually, that's where the type of Bronze Age inspired material is where I'm going with my own publishing efforts. And I had to,
Oh,
yeah, I had to postpone my business plans last year to deal with a family health crisis, and then again this year with COVID. But I'm almost at the point where I can pick things back up again, and I'm just really happy to see that. Going back to 2018, when I remember you talking about this book before you showed any concept art or anything, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to keep my eye on this. I'm not getting my hopes up, but I do think that he's really got something here. And so to just think back to those early days, wondering
yeah.
what you're going to cook up, and then seeing the concept art, the promo art, in some ways you've definitely shown that some of the things that I had been thinking about, how I want to do things, in a way you've shown that it's the way to go, because you and I have a lot of the same inspirations, we have a lot of
Yeah.
the same goals, and seeing your work now as a campaign page, I'm just really happy to see you're at this point, man. So
Thank you.
cheers to you and your book.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great. I mean, just I say it on the channel all the time. Thank you to people who subscribe or watch the videos. It means a huge amount to think that people are interested in what you're doing, and that it gives people pleasure. That it entertains, because that at the end of the day, that's why we make comics.
Yep.
We want to tell stories and entertain people.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's great. Thank you. If you just whip back up just a little way, those posters, those A4 prints, go up. There they are. They're by Rob Willis. You can see all I've got is his quote at the moment because he's in production. But awesome characters. I think I can do a bang up job with this one. But it says Rob. I think he probably can. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing his. But Renzo Rodriguez, Amrit Birdie, and Mike Emirates have all done cracking work. These will, apart from Amrit's, because he's done his own colors as well. The others will be colored just like the rest of my book, and they'll be inside the book, so you can see them colored in the book as part of the gallery. But they're also available as part of the perks for you to have the black and white inked print, because I just think they look so beautiful in black and white.
Yeah, they do. These are some great artists you've got here, and some great art. And I'm sure, Rob is going to do a bang up job. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you've also got a canvas print of the cover there.
That'll be for the big one. I've only got one of those. So if somebody wants everything, they get a canvas as well.
And there's you got your 10 pages of original art that you spoke about earlier, and then A3 poster.
That's me. Yeah.
Let's see. I love that. I love that older style of coloring. Where everyone in the background is just one color, or in the foreground. Sorry, it's just one color there.
There's just a little bit of lighting on them, and that's it. I dig that coloring. I know, I've done some airbrush work and some grad work and what have you, and I know I just don't really enjoy it. I like sort of the bold colors. I was saying this earlier. I think some of it might be down to color blindness. I don't know, but it's just I like the bold and the brash and the sharp contrast. I just like it the way it pops. So
when you're
it's my thing.
Your choice of paper and finish is going to be the perfect format to show off this coloring scheme, which is for anybody in the chat who's familiar with Bronze Age comics, back in the day all we got were flat colors. And there was some even back then, when you're only dealing with flats, even though it's maybe considered basic compared to today's coloring techniques and technology, you still had variations in skill levels for colorists. And there were colorists back then only using flat colors that really made a page come alive and made it pop, and it complemented the line work. And it's what Russ is showing in his campaign is something that I've been kind of had percolating in the back of my mind for my own stuff, where I really want to take advantage of a skilled color artist using flats, but then where it makes sense, maybe do a little bit of lighting effect here or there. But my stuff will definitely not be effects heavy, and so I really like
Yeah.
seeing all of this personally.
Even into the Silver Age, I'm going to show you something here. This is that first comic that I ever bought. These are all flats.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's amazing the
maybe
effect
some-
you can get.
Yeah, this is all flats, and so like this book is how old is this book? 30 something years old. Look at those colors,
Yeah. Gorgeous.
and that's just fantastic. Yeah. And someone pointed out, yeah, William, the lines show up really strongly. It
Yep.
definitely can work. That's how I was introduced to comics.
Yep.
And when they started, doing digital coloring and everything, and they didn't really know how to do it that well, I hated it.
And the thing with flats is that it really either highlights the strength of the line work or it highlights the weaknesses of the line work. So when you have somebody who knows how to use their line weights, they're really solid on all of their fundamentals, that coloring style can actually complement the artwork really well, in my opinion. Whereas if you take someone that's got great line work, but the colorist is not kind of on par in terms of skill level in their own discipline, they can, unfortunately, you can lose some of the line work if the coloring does not, if it's not handled with the same level of proficiency.
Yeah, it can muddy the whole
Mm-hmm.
the whole image. When you're looking at this image here, there's not a lot of highlighting going on, but it's just gorgeous. It's just
Yep.
and it's the inking. I mean, these guys, for me, the way that I draw, I kind of like Joe Sinnott is a big influence on me. I consider my style to be quite bold, in some ways brave, because I'm out there on the edge. I've got to make sure this looks right. There's no amount of cross hatching that's going to save me.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
can't hide anything. It's
yeah,
all out
you
in the
can't,
open.
and that's what I see in this stuff. It's just so brash,
Yep.
and there's these flat colors, but they're done in the right way. They're combined in the right way that it just looks beautiful. So that's where my that's where my inspirations come from for that kind of thing. And looking at, like I said, the Fantastic Four with John Buscema and Joe Sinnott in black and white with tints, and the Overmind Doctor Doom run. It kind of encapsulated a moment in time for me, and it was almost like the perfect comic. And I understand that obviously it's not, because there are so many other kinds of comics, so many different kinds, so many of which I do appreciate. But there's obviously a nostalgia aspect for me, and that kind of sits in a special place. And of course, it's driven the way that I draw. And fortunately, I think we're at a point where I'm actually, hopefully, standing out as being something slightly different, because I'm not doing what everybody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you see what I mean, I'm doing,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm following
That's
that thing, and hopefully I'm going to stand out. That's the hope, anyway.
Yes,
Yeah,
actually,
Antoine.
I've been waiting to address that. You're not doing the over bright where everything looks like it's electronic but on print, and it works. It's very wowing, and people like it. So it's its own art form. But what I like about yours for its category of how to color is it's pleasant. You can look at this and everything's distinct. It does bring out the lines that's already been said, but it's pleasant to look at. It's not.
It's not hard to look
it's
at.
not boring either,
Yeah,
is what I mean.
yeah.
People think
And-
that flatter colors are boring, but they're not.
No.
Yeah, and as Antoine, I think, has said a couple of times, it's actually refreshing to see it, especially for people who have, are familiar with this style. It's just something that, we don't know why so much it fell out of fashion, other than just, art evolves throughout the day.
Yeah.
But, there's nothing wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with it. There was no deficits to it. It just is what it is. But we are getting very close to the end of the hour here.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about your first stretch goal here.
The first stretch goal is literally if I get funded at 5,000, you get the first A5 postcard. I have other ideas for stretch goals. I just didn't want to lay them all down as if I was expecting to get all the funding. So I wanted to entice people in. Some sound advice from Michael as well. So there's the first one. And like I said, this could be the first in a set. I'd really like to go up in not that bigger increment and be able to give out a set of the 4 Horsemen as 4 postcards to everybody at the end of the process. I've also got some ideas. I've looked up getting some pin badges, some small Only Death Can Save Us pin badges, and also UV. I'd love to put that spot on UV spot on the front cover on the logo and the death character. I think that would pop. And then, if it really gets that far, I'd do a 5-page backup strip as well, and do something slightly different, maybe with the death character or one of the other characters. I don't know, but it's all there for the taking if I get enough support.
Good.
Rick asks when the expected delivery date is.
Right. If we go to the amounts that don't include a 5-page backup strip, then January will be my expected delivery date. Those are the dates that I've got in the perks. I expect to go to print in November, so it may be possible to get some of those delivered or out for delivery before Christmas. I would imagine the simple ones, so like the straight up just the book or just the book and a print, I'll be able to get out to the post pretty quickly. So you may even get them before Christmas. But I don't want to mess around with people's deliveries through the Christmas post because it's not fair on anybody. So I'll wait until like that first week of January and then start posting everybody out again.
So you've mentioned this relationship between the main character and the one soul. So this has heart, and I know Michael's about to refresh, but that first, if people want to look on their own, that first page that's shown that says 20 billion years ago, and then there's this giant battle scene. I gotta say, this book looks like there's a lot of fun going on in there.
Hopefully,
so,
yeah.
So fun with heart is a good combination.
Fun with heart, yeah. Thank you. I like that.
And great art.
Thank you.
All right, yes, we are going to refresh. So you're sitting on 20 backers here. And let's do it. I'll just make sure I'm not going to kick myself. Yep, we're all good to go. Trust me, that happens. There you go, 2 more backers.
Oh, you got me too. Thank you so much. That's just incredible. 18% on my first day. I'm stunned. Absolutely stunned. Thank you, everybody.
You're not stunned. You're nearly falling asleep. That's
yeah. I'm so stunned. I'm knackered. Once again, and I'll keep on saying this, and I will not stop saying it. Thank you to anybody who backs me, anybody who subscribes to me. Thank you for giving me your time and your interest, and to all you guys in Comicsgate, because I don't apply the Comicsgate tag to myself, simply because I'm kind of like Lucifer, who I do a stream with on Monday. He likes to call us Outlaw Comics. I'm sure by now I've already been tagged as Comicsgate simply because I'm talking to you guys, and I don't care because it's not about that. It's about working together. It's about open minds. It's about communication and about support. And everybody I've bumped into in Comicsgate has been absolutely brilliant and stellar. And I won't have a bad word said about it, because I've seen nothing but decent people. So I just want to lodge my thanks to everybody who's helped me out, and who's been kind enough to give me their wisdom, especially yourself, Michael. Thank you. And it's a great place to be. What a great time to be making comics.
The opportunity hits.
I don't think we can end it any better than that. Thank you so much, Russ, for those kind words as well. And I couldn't share your sentiment anymore. That's just so well said. So thank you for coming on and talking about your book and a little bit of your wisdom with us. This has been a fantastic show. Blue, Joe, always a pleasure to have you guys on here. And
thank you.
Of course, to the amazing, sexiest chat in CG with your fantastic questions about comics and beans and all that good stuff.
Hail chat.
Exactly. Hail the chat. Damn straight. There we go. Right from the mouth. All right, guys, we will see you again tomorrow with another guest. I think you're really going to enjoy tomorrow's show as well. And yeah, we'll see you then. All right.